Assalamu alaikum. So if you're looking to go for Hajj this year or anytime soon, this video is specifically for you. If you've got your visa and you're looking to go sometime soon, congratulations, may Allah accept it from you. Your test begins now. Your journey has already started. And this is the mindset which I would advise you to keep, because the reality is there are lots of tests that you're likely to endure throughout this journey. What I'm going to show you is my own personal journey using the Nusuk platform and being under the Rawaf agent during a Hajj experience. There were a lot of things which I wasn't sure about. There were things which I was a bit dubious about, and I was querying, because the last time I'd done Hajj was back in 2011. Obviously a lot has changed since then. The Haram itself has changed. I used to work in the Haram and I've seen those physical changes, but not only the Haram and the surrounding areas, but the Hajj process has changed and the Hajj facilities have changed. So I wanted to give you guys an idea of what it's like now in comparison to what you may have previously experienced, or you may not have experienced anything before at all. And it can be a daunting experience. It can be full of anxiety, because you don't want to get anything wrong at the same time. This is a journey of a lifetime. And for most of us, it's probably the only time we get to do Hajj. So with that in mind, I recorded some clips, and I just felt I thought I should share that with you, so that for some of you who may be worrying too much, maybe this will help you ease off a little bit and feel a bit more relaxed. But for some of you who don't worry at all, maybe this should kind of motivate you to not worry, but be conscious of what's to come, because the better prepared you are, the better your journey will be, and the better your whole experience will be, and inshallah you'll get the most out of it. So once we had completed our application on Nusuk and we'd found out that we were actually going, we were contacted by a UK based, because I'm based in the UK, a UK based agency which is attached with Rawaf. They're called Hajj UK, and they immediately started to give us a lot of information, put us into a WhatsApp group, explain to us what the process was going to be. They were very good, and they held seminars. They gifted us with ihrams and some of these bags that you can put stuff in, books and so forth. So they were very good right from the start. And though when we were leading up to the journey, in terms of going to the airport, catching our flights, a lot of people might be anxious that they'd not received their visas, but don't worry. I don't know anybody who hadn't received their documentation or the visas, even if it was like 2 days before flying, because that often happens. You've got to imagine there are millions of people going for Hajj and wanting to be there within the same time frame. Then you've got the flight tickets and so forth. So be patient. So when I said that your test starts now, this is what I mean. Your test of patience starts now. Your test for being open-minded, being a little bit forgiving of processes, maybe not being according to what time schedule you had in mind. But rest assured, you will have the people doing a lot of work in the background if they're half decent. So alhamdulillah, we had a good group. Now, when we reached the airport, obviously we were going from Luton here in the UK, and we were on the Wizz airline. And when we got to Saudi, the first thing that happens is, once you've checked in, you'll notice that somebody will come along and want to scan your passport. So straight away they're onto it. The process has started straight away. They'll check your passport, and from that passport, I'll give you our example. When we landed, once we checked in through the immigration and security, then when we were going to collect our luggage, an individual was there, wanted to check our passports. I said, right, okay, you guys, your bus is actually waiting already outside. Now, the last time I went for Hajj, I remember we were waiting for many hours in the heat for a bus to take us to our hotel. But these guys had already got a system in place. There were people every few yards, few meters with these computer little gadgets with the whole database there. Once they scan your passport, say, yeah, you're in this queue, you're in this queue, that's your bus, this is where you need to wait. And obviously you've got to be patient. You might not be waiting 10 or 12 hours like back in the day, but even if you have to wait half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, then just bear with it. Again, you'll notice why when you're there, but keep in mind that these are things that you might have to do. So once we got onto our bus, we were gifted with a few things, and one of the first things that we'd received was a white drawstring bag with some books. We'd also received this food pack, some snacks just to show us some snacks just to get us through the evening. Wizz Air don't give you any food unless you pay extra, so I don't think any of the Hujjaj actually paid for any of the extras, unless they wanted to get some snacks. I think we just got some snacks on there because we just probably weren't hungry. But on the bus we were given these snacks, and these were fine because we went straight to Medina from Jeddah airport. Now, when we got to Medina, we stayed in a hotel called Misk Al Balad, and this was directly in front of the hotel. So Misk Touch is the name outside of the hotel, right outside gate 305 of the Haram of Medina. And when you walk out of the hotel, you see the Haram right in front of you. So this is where the Rawda is on that side. It's a beautiful hotel room, really nice. By the way, this was the Rawaf premium package, not the luxury, the premium package. And then from our hotel room, we could see the Green Dome, literally outside the Haram of Medina. So it was a beautiful place, and it was really well placed. Whilst you're in Medina, obviously you enjoy yourself. You do your thing. You go to the masjid. You pray. If you're fasting on one of the white days, or Monday or Thursday, they even cater for that. Medina does that anyway. So even in the Haram of Makkah, they do that. There's certain safs within the masjid that they give you food packs for your iftar if you're fasting on any particular days. So you go and give salam to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You absorb the atmosphere. Everybody's there for the same reason. Now, Rawaf themselves actually gave us a gift bag whilst we were there. As you can see, we had some things, including a fan with extra prayer mats, umbrella, and so we were gifted every step of the way. Somebody or another would gift us with stuff. Now this, what I'm showing you now, is actually a museum right outside our hotel. I would highly recommend going there. You learn a lot. This here is the Rawda, which is where the Prophet ﷺ used to actually deliver his sermons, his khutbah, and this is known as one of the places of land which will enter Jannah. And so they say, obviously, you pray here, it's as though you've prayed in Jannah. When you pray here, you are praying within the old confines of the masjid, which the Prophet ﷺ used to deliver his sermons from. That was his mimbar there. Hazrat Aisha radiallahu anha, her house is just right in there in front, and that's where the Prophet ﷺ is also resting. And this area is distinguished by the green carpet and that design of the green carpet, so you know that. But you have to book for this through the Nusuk app, and not the Nusuk platform that you booked your Hajj from. So it's a separate app. You get gifts again there, little treats, water, dates, and again, you do the normal touristy things as you do when you're around in these kinds of places. Enjoy yourself. Again, absorb, climatize, and so forth. So what I'm showing you here is actually a ticket for our train to go to Makkah. So before we left Medina, because it's quite a long journey, we took the train. The train has a capacity limit on how much luggage you can take on board. So our organizers, what they did was they booked a lorry. They asked us to bring our suitcases packed the night before to get it shipped off to Makkah before we even got there. So our luggage was sent to Makkah in the early hours of the morning, and then the next morning we left. A coach took us to the train station. From the train station, we obviously took the train to Makkah, which was a brilliant idea, and it was less hassle. And the facilities are really good. By the way, Rawaf had lists of people in the foyer of the hotel of our names and our coach number and what time it's going to set off. So everything was already, I mean, they always had representatives at the reception desk, and those representatives were always there to help with any queries or anything you're not sure about. And there were English speaking ones there as well. So very well catered for, considering all the logistics and considering all the complications. I think they've tightened a lot of stuff up considering what I'd heard from before. So again, you got your ticket and you go into the train station. This is the train station. It looks like a tent, but it's a fancy tent, I guess. But when you're in the actual train station, it's a very modern building, and you know it looks like an airport more than a train station. And the train station is very well designed. It is the fast speed train that actually takes you to Makkah, and the facilities are very good. So the standards are very similar to those of the European trains. As you can see, you look like you can be in a underground in London looking at these, and you can see 300 kilometers an hour. Yeah, it is fast, and it gets you there within a couple of hours, 2.5 hours. The hotel we stayed at in Mecca. Oh, by the way, so when we arrived in Mecca on the trains, the train station, from the train station, again, you had organizers directing you towards getting to the correct coach to take you to your hotel. This was the hotel which we stayed in. This is a relatively new hotel, Novotel Dhakar, and it was a beautiful hotel, a little bit out of the way, but still no more than 15-20 minute walk to the Haram if you know your way around. And again, once we arrived there, more gifts, books, mushaf. By the way, this day, when you get to the hotel, is a very, very stressful day if you're not prepared for it, because you've got to remember if your organizers have done something similar to what ours did, and you got your suitcases arriving before you did, obviously your suitcases are still going to be outside. But here, you've got to remember the hotel staff, Rawaf, your team leaders, they're all trying to make sure they've allocated the right rooms for the right people. Because what you can't afford to have is mixed crowds. You're not going to have a random woman being allocated the room with some random men. So they've got to be very meticulous in the way that they do this. Now, our organizer, Rehan, is very good, accommodated us really well, and very much appreciative of how we did this. It took time, but you've got to be prepared. You've got to be patient. Again, you're going to be in the state of Ihram because you've left Medina, you've come to Makkah, and the first thing you're going to do here is Umrah. So you're going to be in the state of Ihram. So even more of a reason why we need to practice patience. So when we arrive in this hotel, they're very organized, but also they celebrate with you. They had petals, and they were showering us with flower petals to welcome us. There's lots of gifts and sweets and drinks, and again they were very, very welcoming. And the people in Makkah, they do actually highly regard their duties when it comes to the Hujjaj. So they take it seriously, and they want to make sure that you're very well looked after. So again, more glucose biscuits. You really need those glucose biscuits around this time. As you can see, lots of refreshments available whilst you're waiting for your room to be allocated to you, and whilst you have other groups. Now, obviously, once you've settled in, you go to the Haram, you perform your Umrah. At this point, just a small note, when we were there, the government had stopped all the buses, the shuttle services that went from the hotel to the Haram, partially because of the high temperatures. I don't know, crowd control. There were lots of things happening at the time, but because the shuttle buses had been put on hold, we had obviously partially our organizers who were guiding us as to how to get to the Haram. Some of us I was quite well aware of some of the streets here because I'd lived here and I'd worked in the Haram. But a lot of people, if you're new and you've never been there, it's not difficult to get there. You have different taxi services. You can even get Ubers there, and you can still go to the Haram. Obviously, it's not going to be the same rate as what you would normally pay throughout the year, but you're there for a purpose. You might have other taxi services, local taxis, who might be able to take you there as well. So there'll be options if that happens to you. That might not happen to you. Maybe it was a one-off thing last year for some reason, and this year they've already looked at how to rectify that and keep the shuttle buses going. But that was for a few days, good few days, that we had to end up doing that. But where we were, Novotel, it was, like I said, 15-20 minute walk, and you go past some really nice areas and historical places, which isn't bad really. You get to see them. You're given, obviously, before you go to Mina, obviously once you've done your Umrah, you can go to the Haram, you can stay back at the hotel if it's far. Again, the government issued a notice for the Hujjaj to stay in the hotels because of the heat waves in a couple of days. We were quite lucky. We had different ulama who were with us. Sheikh Shakur, as part of Hajj UK, was with us, and he delivered sermons and reminders, beautiful reminders. And this kind of really felt amazing because the hotel itself had a masjid on one of the floors, and after Salah, he would give us some reminders for 15-20 minutes at a time, and they were really beautiful ones. And Sheikh Shakur is amazing at how he delivers sermons, and it really fills you with iman, in faith, with faith. And the more you get to take these reminders and absorb them in, you got some Q&A sessions, the more you realize why you're there, and because we, in our normal lives, we're very much attached to the world, but whilst we're there, the whole point is to be detached from the rest of what we're doing outside, in the outside world, and be attached to our maqsad, our purpose for why we're there. Again, so the Rawaf themselves gave us a gift bag, and I will show you another gift bag which we received from Nusuk themselves. Lots of essentials. You can see smart cup, which tells you the temperature digitally. They got a prayer mat, umbrella, mushaf, some toiletries, a tasbih digital counter. These were lots of gifts that were given to us by Rawaf themselves in one of those grey satchels, which we could take with us to Mina. Now, last time I went for Hajj, we didn't get anything. Okay, it was a budget Hajj, but even in Mina itself, I will explain what the difference has been. Last time we went, we had to prepare ourselves. So even on this occasion, I took with me dried nuts because we had difficulty getting proper food in Mina. And what we decided was, because we'd already heard about that last time, we took dried nuts so we can just kind of chew on something high energy but not need the toilets, because the toilets were atrocious. They were really bad. They were they were really bad. I don't even want to go through the pain of describing them, but you had several cubicles, not many of them, and there were long queues, really, really long queues, and they were outside, and there was no shade until you went into the toilets and whatnot. But yeah, it wasn't the nicest or the most pleasant of experiences. And so we took our own towels and unscented soap, shower gels, all that kind of stuff. But here you'll notice that you get a lot of stuff, and you don't even need to take some of that stuff that we took last time. So again, you've got some nice gifts there, toiletry bag with all the things that you might need, masks and so forth. So on our way to Mina from our hotel on the days of Hajj, what you do is you go to Mina a day before the day of Arafat, the day of Hajj. So these guys, the organizers, will actually get coaches for us and then take us to Mina on those coaches. So, we help each other out. We kind of orderly queues and everything. But here's the thing. Remember, we talked about having patience. If you look on the screen, the tire of this particular coach was flat. So we had to wait quite a bit of time more before our coach came, because this tire was flat. This coach couldn't take us. So our coach tire was flat, and we had to wait for another one. Again, patience. You're in the state of Ihram again, and you're going for Hajj. and there's a purpose for everything. There's a reason behind it. So we're being tested, you're being tested, and it's tests galore. Coaches were of good standard. Again, pretty nice new coaches. You have just like you have in the Western worlds generally. So the coaches were facilitated well, and they were a comfortable drive to get to Mina. And because of the traffic, it takes a bit of time getting to Mina than it would normally do. So here we have the coaches. We drive towards Mina, where Mina starts. Then that's all you see: tents, tents, and more tents. Now, there are different standards of tents depending on the package. From my understanding, you have the premium, the basics, and then you have some luxury ones. The luxury ones actually are more like hotels. They're very close to the Jamarat, but if you're in the European camps, you're going to be quite far. You're probably the furthest away from the Jamarats than any other people, because European camps are quite far. I think they're about 5.7 or 5 something kilometers away further from Jamarat, where you do the stoning. So once you finish, once you finish the rest of the rukn and you have to go to do the stoning in the Jamarat, then you've got quite a bit of trek to walk. So that's the only downside to the new European camps. Last time it didn't take us that long from what I remember. So Mina itself has changed a lot, because last time when we were there, yeah, it was a basic package, but it was just a tent and some carpet. That's it. I vaguely remember some water coolers, like to get drinking water, but there wasn't any air conditioning or food or anything like that. Watch the difference here. So here we're coming out of our coach, and as we come out, we instantly greeted by our team members, and we're directed towards the tent which we have to go to. That's Brother Hussein that was just giving us a fist bump and a handshake. Really lovely guy, really looked after us and showed us exactly where to go, what time to be where, and looked after us. So our tents were just outside where the coach brings us, and that was our tent right in front of us. And as you go inside the tents, they're not just a tent, it's like a little city, it's like a little town. They've got streets with this fake grass which gives it really nice aesthetic. You've got lanterns that are dangling down and hung off the ceiling, and look at it. You wouldn't think you're just in a normal tent, but this is very, very well designed. So from here we took a left to go, so this guy was showing us where our room is. And so when you go towards where your room, when I say room, it's actually a tent again, but when you get through the street and you get to your room, there are pockets, plastic pockets outside where you put your slippers before you go into the tent itself, because you have rugs there, you have air conditioning in there, you have, see there's plastic things attached to the wall. That's how you put your slippers in. And nobody nicks your slippers, thank God. It's always a fear for us when we go to a masjid or a new masjid or a new place. So everything remains outside, and then we go into our tent. So in the tent, you see a row of your chairs which convert into beds, which I'll show you just in a second, and then we'll come on to the food elements of it. So as you can see, people just walking in and out, getting used to the place. And there you can see what the tent looks like inside. They actually have air conditioning in these tents. As you can see, the piping on the top and the vents, and it's all carpeted. These chairs turn into beds, and they're pretty comfortable. They're pretty comfortable. Everyone is allocated with their own seat number. So that's actually on your wristband. And it's a purple wristband that we had, and you cannot take anybody else's seat. You have to go to the seat which is printed on your wristband. Now this is a bag, again, more gifts, right? So this is a bag which was given to us. It's a really nice leather bag. You have a really good quality prayer mat in there. You have a mushaf as well, which they gave us. You have these bottles, all Nusuk branded. Another fan which you can add water into, rechargeable, it lets out mist. and you have yeah, lots of toiletries, disposable towels for personal care. You have yeah, there's just so much in there. I've actually got the bag in front of me now. Drawstring bag for when you might need to put your slippers in there if you're going out and you want to take them with you. Another digital counter for tasbih. And you also have an umbrella as well. In fact, let me just show you. Okay, there, so you've got blankets and pillow covers. So this is the bag. I brought it back with me. It's the only bag that I brought back with me because we got so many gifts that it was hard for us to bring them back with us. Your lanyard. Now you're going to need your lanyard everywhere you go during Hajj days, because without this is your security pass. You can't even go into the haram. Okay, so these were the soft and gentle disposable towels. You have the prayer mat here. This one was from Rawaf, drawstring bag, toiletry bag, the smart cup with the digital temperature on there. You have the Nusuk drawstring bag. There was just so much, and this was all from Nusuk, which we just added in here. Let me just put this down. On top of that, you also had, these are little stone bags. These are called Jamarat stone bags, provided by Nusuk Ministry of Hajj. So when you collect your stones or pebbles to throw in the Jamarat, they're already, last year I took little money bags. So I put 7 stones in each money bag. Well, I put 8 just in case I lost one in each money bag for each day. The fan and more toiletry stuff. And of course, we also have these umbrellas to help you in the shade. So yeah, you are gifted and you're showered with gifts throughout the whole journey. So if you're thinking of getting things like this, you've taken disposable towels, you won't really need it, to be honest with you. You won't need to take any food with you to Mina either, and I'll show you why in a second. You might think about taking a power bank. Well, you know what? These guys have got wall sockets. So you might want to take a power bank, but you can charge whatever you want to charge in there. So that again was it was unheard of back in the day. Food was great. When you walk outside, you will see that you have so many fridges and freezers in every street. I call it a street. So in every street, as you can see just there, you'll have several fridges. One has your yogurts, laban, lassi or whatever else. You've got a tea station with cakes, biscuits, karak chai, noodles, and so on and so forth. Biscuits, yeah, look at them. And then you'll also have a freezer with loads of ice cream. Now, if you're an ice cream fan, just like I am, you know, it's heaven, isn't it? There was one brother I remember who used to go to the ice cream freezer every so often and used to do a video call to his kids. And his kids were like, Baba, we want to go for Hajj. Just because they loved ice cream and he loved ice cream so much. So they wanted to come for Hajj just because of the ice cream. And then you have another fridge freezer with other drinks, fizzy drinks, water and so forth. The kitchen, again, is buffet style. You pick up a tray, you tell them what you want. You got meat, you got chicken, you got beef, you got vegetables, you've got quite the continental dinner there. Again, last time when I was in Hajj, I didn't get anything. You got pasta as well. Come on, man. Then you've obviously got salads and fruits for those of you who don't want to eat meat and don't want to get ill or risk getting ill. And then obviously, once you've finished having your food, you can go and have your teas and coffees and stuff like that. So the amenities there, and I'm not saying that there's just one set of these. There's loads of them. Like everywhere you go, you'll see like 3 or 4 sets of these fridge freezers, the tea stations, the noodles, the ice creams, the fizzy drink. The refreshments are there 24 hours a day. 24 hours a day. So there's absolutely no need to take any food with you because you'll have everything you need in under the roof. So snacks, teas, when you're sitting down, want to pray and read the Quran, want to get something, get a cup of tea, get a coffee. Look at that, karak chai. Like, do you know what I mean? It's amazing how much they've done and what they've done to make sure that we're comfortable as the Hujjaj. So yes, the costs have risen, but to a degree you can see where some of that costs or some of that money is being spent. Now here come the toilets, because remember I told you the toilets were really, really bad before. On this right hand side that you can see, these are just cubicles with toilets and showers, and they're the outside cubicles. On either side of these buildings, on the ends, you have areas where they just do wudu, and that's it. If you don't need the toilet, you just want to do wudu, that's where you do wudu. On the left hand side of this street, there, under indoors, you will see the other cubicles, which are more modern, and then basins on the right hand side, which are also modern, because you'll see that they're the double type of basins. So here on the right hand side, as I was explaining, this is where you just do wudu, or have you can go to the toilet and have showers there. And on the left hand side, you've got all the other stuff. And look at those basins. These are the modern type of basins. You've got the lower basin to wash your feet, and the higher top basins to do your wudu, just to make it easier for the Hujjaj. There's no expense spared here. If you want to know what inside the cubicles inside look like, look at that. You've got a shower, you've got English toilets, not a hole in the ground, and then you can have a quick shower there if you need to. Now obviously this is Mina, and then the next day we go to Arafat. Now Arafat is the main Hajj day. This is the day we need to focus. This is the day we are there for. The Prophet ﷺ said Hajj is Arafat, and so the day of Arafat is the Hajj day. This is the main day. You need to be within the boundaries of Arafat. You cannot be outside that, otherwise Hajj is not accepted. So we need to make sure, which your organizers should help you get there anyway. Now some people would like to sit outside under the shade of a tree and be in their own flow of things, pray outside, whereas some people would prefer to stay inside the big massive tents. These are all like open tents, the massive tents, and we were blessed to have some scholars there who gave us speeches and reminders and guidance on the benefits of the day and how to plan this day and what to do on this day. So yeah, it was a beautiful moment, and this is what you're there for, really. And I remember from my previous Hajj days when we were at in Arafat, we didn't have any of these sofa chairs to make things comfortable for us. We were just literally sat on the ground with a rug on it, which wasn't even. So which you can say, you know what, that's probably closer to the Sunnah way. Yes, and I guess that's a good thing. I suppose when you've already experienced that, you probably want to experience something a bit more comfortable as you grow older as well. Now, the luxury packages that you get for Hajj are on another level. Personally, I don't recommend them unless you have any physical ailments, or there is some other kind of issue for which reason you need to be able to do Hajj with certain amenities. If you're able-bodied, if it's the first time you're going, I would highly recommend going and doing the standard way, because that would be the closest way to doing the Sunnah way. Otherwise, when you've got rotisseries and barbecues and the day of Arafat, you know what, it just looks like a resort. If you've ever seen those videos, yeah, I mean, you might be well to do, but if you want to experience Hajj, personally, I feel that you've got to do it the proper way, which is closer to the Sunnah way. Once you've finished in Arafat and that night you go to Muzdalifah, you spend the night in the open sky. This is us actually going towards the Muzdalifah. This is Muzdalifah itself, where you've got people looking for places to stay. We were again blessed and lucky that we had a really well organized group in Hajj UK, and they took us to a really quiet area. Look at this, it was very quiet. And we found our spots, we laid down, we had to pray Maghrib and Isha together, and then we obviously stayed there for the night. And that night, you're staying there, and you probably don't even get more than 2 hours or 3 hours of sleep max, because then you have to get up for Fajr. After Fajr, you make your way back to Mina before you go to the Jamarat and do the stoning. But I tell you what, this is the second time I've been to Hajj. The sleep you get in Mina, it's incomparable. There's no sleep better than the sleep of Mina. Sorry, Muzdalifah. It's amazing because you're tired, you've not slept. The next day you've got to go to Mina and then to the Jamarat and then to the Haram to do your Tawaf and Sa'i, and then you come back to Mina. But there's something that kind of spiritually uplifts you. So this is Mina. We had rugs on the floor. Next morning, after praying Fajr, our group, we decided to walk back to Mina rather than wait for a bus. Again, trying to follow the prophetic way as close as possible. We had the option to wait for a bus, but we said, you know what, we're going to walk. We're going to walk back to Mina, to our camps in Mina, drop off this stuff, and then go towards the Jamarat to do the stoning of the shaitan. And that's what we did. Now, because this is the same day as it's Eid for the rest of the world, the guys in Mina had prepared something a little bit extra, but a little bit special. As you can see, security again. These guys were always available to spray cold water on us because of the heat. It was really hot. So obviously there's decorations, as I was mentioning, in Mina. There were extra items there for gifts, with books, translated books, cakes and desserts and food items. So yeah, again, everyone's here trying to freshen up before they head off to Jamarat to pelt the shaitan. So here we're on our way to the Jamarat. This is quite the walk, and this is a beautiful moment. What you see here, these tunnels, when you go through these tunnels, obviously we all walk in, it's not all tunneled, but when you go through the tunnels and you see people from different parts of the world with their flags, that we're from this country, we're from that country, for the benefit of their group leaders, or flags of their groups, but you're all chanting the same thing. And when you hear that reverberating through the tunnels, some emotions overtake you. You feel so, subhanAllah, you feel powerful as an ummah. You think, why can't we be like that on a normal day? We're here together, we're reciting the same thing with the same jazba, with the same passion, and it just kind of overtakes you in that way. So as you can see, this is the group. We're just walking through the tunnels towards the Jamarat, and they have fans in them for air circulation. There are some escalator type flooring, so you don't walk all the way through, to relieve you a little bit. The Jamarat, you only pelt the one of the Jamarat, the big one, on the first day, and then the others you do on the following days. So after you've done this, these are the pillars, these are the Jamarat, this is what you stone. There are basins around, and then you go to the Haram to do Tawaf and Sa'i. Now at the end of this, there didn't used to be, but now there are free shuttle services. Not everybody knows. Some people still decide to walk or get a taxi because they don't know that there are free buses that take you to the Haram from outside the Jamarat. Once we've been there, we did Tawaf and Sa'i, we came back. Again, we were treated, this is back in Mina now, we were treated with a lot of sweets, food, to get our energy back up since it's Eid. And yeah, back in Mina, and this is where we spend our time for the next couple of days. And then once we finish here, we do the final Jamarat stoning before we can then go back to the hotel. That's Brother Rehan, again from Hajj UK. There's Mustafiz, and then again you can see he's making the same journey through the tunnels straight to the Jamarat. And on this day, because it was so hot, they even had the fire services splashing water in those fire hoses from the fire engine. So you have to be well prepared. Now, it's not easy. This not at all a walk in the park. In fact, talking about walks, let me show you in a second how many steps we did in one day once we'd come back after the first day of doing the pelting of the Jamarat and going to do a Tawaf and stuff. So once we'd come back from a first Tawaf, the first pelting of the stone of the Jamarat Tawaf, say, then back to Mina, we had walked this much. So that's nearly 40,000 steps, 18 miles. So if you've not yet practiced your walking, I suggest you get started. At the end of our journey in the hotel, again, we had a quick celebratory seminar, which was nice. We had a presentation, some awards were given out, and there was a cake that we cut. The Rawaf representatives are there, Hajj UK representatives were there, Sheikh Shakur there, and we had a great send-off for us. Now, this is back at the airport. You get your Zamzam at the airport, by the way, before you leave. You don't get it anywhere else. You get it at the airport. There are kiosks. You have to show them your passport and visas, and they give you your Zamzam. Now, at the airport, for the Hujjaj, they had more gifts. So they gave you another Mus'haf, the Quran, and then a box with some snacks. As you can see, there's some water, pastries, cakes, and so forth. So yeah, they're wanting to look after you right until you leave. I think I've spoken a lot. I'll just leave you with this. And then one final thing, because when we were coming back, it was the first war between Iran and Israel, the 12-day war, as they called it. We happened to see some fireworks from the plane. God knows how far we were from it, but take a look. May Allah bless you all. May you have a safe journey there. May Allah accept all your ibadah. Keep us all in your du'as, especially the ummah at large, those who are being oppressed, those who are suffering from the hands of tyrants. And make sure you keep us all in your du'as. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.